Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about an ice queen, Surya Bonaly. Now, Bonaly was a French amateur and professional figure skater who is known for the first and only human being to complete and successfully do a one-footed backflip while on ice. This backflip is actually an illegal move currently in the figure skating world, but she went and she did it anyways. Her attitude to what makes up the kind of typical female figure skater is what made her such an interesting figure in the history of sport and the history of women in sports as well. So we're gonna get into her story. First, I just want to quickly cover what the illegal move is, as in the illegal backflip. The backflip has been banned from competition since 1967 when American Kubica performed a backflip during his Olympic routine. It was the first and last illegal backflip. He also did this backflip landing on 2 feet. Now, figure skating organizations obviously banned this routine due to its difficulty, due to its obvious danger, and it's probably one of the next most dangerous figure skating moves to the Iron Lotus. So of course they had to ban it from competition. If you were to do one now in any form of figure skating competitions, you would actually be penalized, as in points would be taken off of your score. However, some professional figure skating organizations like Stars on Ice or Champions on Ice, that sort of thing, you tend to see some figure skaters who will do like backflips or different kind of flips or cartwheels on ice. A lot of them do land on 2 feet. A lot of them can successfully do it. However, in any form of amateur and or Olympic big figure skating organization competition, it is banned. Now I'm going to get into Surya Bonaly's amateur career, and when I say amateur, this essentially just means that she was competing in lots of world championships, lots of Olympic games, and she wasn't being paid like she would have been while doing something like Champions on Ice or Stars on Ice, which are organizations that travel around with figure skaters and people pay to go see it, kind of like a concert. Surya Bonaly started out as a world junior champion in gymnastics, with her specialty being tumbling. She later was picked up by famed French figure skating coach Didier Galliette and started figure skating at a young age. She completed her first on-ice backflip at the age of 12, and so with that she was destined for flipping greatness. I mean, really. Just as she did in gymnastics, Bonaly quickly became a world junior figure skating star, impressing people with her trick ability and her execution. This was due to her gymnastics background. She was able to kind of move her body in a way that made spinning a lot easier, that made doing tricks a lot easier, and made them more powerful and more successful. With her incredible figure skating career, she ends up qualifying to go to the 1992 Albertville Winter Olympic Games. Was actually a favorite to do well, and a lot of people were betting on her winning a medal. During warm-ups, Bonaly actually did her famous backflip, and it was actually fine just because it was during you know, kind of like an unofficial warm-ups. You're allowed to kind of just run around on the ice and do whatever. However, she flipped a little bit too close to Japanese competitor Midori Ito. So the judges essentially told her to stop doing that, don't ever do that again, or face the consequences. Now, the judges believed that her doing this backflip was actually meant to intimidate the other woman on the ice, which, I mean, of course, you're gonna pull out your best tricks on ice, on practice, in order to intimidate your competition and be like, yeah, look what I can do. Of course you're gonna do that. Like, come on. She does have a decent performance at this games and places 5th. At the 1993 World Championships, Bonaly does 7 triple jumps and a triple combination and wins silver. However, Oksana Baiul lands 5 triple jumps with no combinations and wins gold. Now, it's a little strange. You do 7 with combinations and someone else does 5 and no combinations, and somehow you come in second. Apparently, Bonaly didn't win the gold for her tricks, rather her lack of artistry during her skate. She later qualifies for the 1994 Olympic Games, where Bonaly skates a really clean performance. However, the entire games was overshadowed by the Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding drama. Also, Oksana Baiul was favored to win. Eventually, Bonaly places 4th. And at the 1994 World Champs, Bonaly skates a clean, great routine, ends up being tied with Japan's Yuka Sato for first place. Now, Sato's performance was much more the typical female figure skating performance, with lots of footwork, elegance, and grace, whereas Bonley's was filled with complex jumps and tricks that were technically much more difficult than aspects of Sato's performance. So the judges actually ruled on the tiebreaker, with 5 voting for Sato and 4 voting for Bonaly, and this bumped Bonaly down to second place. During the medal ceremony, Bonaly refused to step on the podium. When she was then given her medal, she also took it off, and of course everyone in the crowd booed her. Bonaly was frustrated that she could not quite crack that top level of the games because of her different style, as in a style that was a bit more physical and a bit more focused on technical tricks and jumps, as opposed to a style that was much more artistic. Now, figure skating, one of those sports that you really have to play to the judges. If you give them something they don't like or they are not used to, they tend to score you lower. And by this point, Bonaly had been fighting this her whole career and would continue to do so. So at the 1995 World Championships, same story happens, where she has a really strong technical routine with much better elements than a lot of the other women who were competing, and she's of course set to win gold. However, she ends up in 3rd place due to like 1/10 of a point and one judge who didn't necessarily like her performance too much. Initially, she does believe this is racism, as she was the only black figure skater kind of skating in the figure skating world at the time. Then in 1996, she injured her Achilles and she was out of competition for a little bit. But then she set her sights on the 1998 Nagano Olympics. She knew she wouldn't medal, but she really wanted to give it one last chance for one last performance. While on the ice performing at the last minute, she traded out a triple Lutz jump for the illegal backflip. It immediately wowed the crowd and shocked the judges. She ended up placing 10th at the games and retired from her amateur career. Now, she was predicted to do a little bit better than 10th, but because of the backflip, judges took off a lot of her points, and it ended up making her lower. But she was totally happy with getting 10th when she could do something that she really wanted to do and that she was really well known for. Now, by the end of her amateur career, Bonaly had 9 French national championships, 5 European championships, and 3 silver world medals. She joined a group called Champions on Ice, which was a professional skating troupe, and skated professionally for about a decade. Every performance she would do a backflip, and while the judges, she was finally free to perform her own way. She would be doing handsprings, backflips, really intense jumps. She would be wearing outfits that she really wanted. She was finally able to kind of do what she really wanted to do on the ice. So people came to watch her to perform her backflip, and for an entire decade, people absolutely loved watching her perform. She no longer had to perform for the judges, but could perform for the audience and herself, who, let's be honest, they're the real judges here. In 2015, she stopped performing due to health issues, and she now coaches figure skating. So as for figure skating, why exactly did Bonaly never really quite crack the top of any really big world competition? And that's mostly kind of down to issues within the figure skating community and within the figure skating judges. Now, figure skating is probably one of the widest sports out there. Before Surya Bonaly hit the international competitions, African-American Debbie Thomas was the first black athlete to win a medal at the Winter Olympic Games, and she won this in the Calgary Games of 1988. This made Bonaly one of very few, if not the second black female athlete to be competing at Winter Olympic Games. And even now, there's a very limited amount of people who are African American or who are black competing at the Winter Olympics, and even more particularly in figure skating. Another thing is that she didn't step out onto the ice as the typical ice princess, which is something that's very common in the sport of figure skating. Now, an ice princess is usually someone who's very feminine, graceful, artistic, and white. They have beautiful makeup and hair and outfits. Whereas Bonaly was much more muscular, powerful, focused on tricks, had different routines, had different outfits that actually some judges thought were distasteful and unbefitting of a female figure skater. Bonaly really tried to skate her own way and not conform to what the judges really wanted to see. And unfortunately, in a sport where you really have to play for the judges, this probably played a small part in her never really being able to crack the top at the Olympic Games or the World Championships. With all these quote-unquote differences that Bonaly had, you kind of already start with a stigma before you come on the ice. When the judges see that the next person up is Surya Bonaly and you're a decently well-known international figure skating judge, you come in with this kind of stigma or this idea that, you know, her performance isn't going to be quite what you want to see, so it's not going to be as good. It's not going to wow you away. Because figure skating is such a political and subjective sport, it makes it really hard if you have a killer performance, if you have an outfit that you really like, but someone just fits that mold just a little bit more likely they're going to have a slight edge in getting points and getting favor with the judges. Of course, this is so unfair, but unfortunately, it's just how the sport works then and still kind of works to this day. One of those sports with a ton of controversial moments, some shady judging. There's normally some form of figure skating judging scandal that comes out every year, whether it's at the Olympics or at world events. And there's lots of all these like tiny little mini rules involved with performances, like to do with costumes. Like if something falls off, then you get points deducted. Like it's a really, the judging's not super fair and unbiased, to be completely honest. Now, Surya Bonaly's journey in athletics is going to be a lot like a lot of other Black female athletes who are judged first on their makeup, their outfits, their jewelry, their physical appearance, and a lot of the time their physical power before their actual performance. Unfortunately, this hasn't really changed even 20 years on in the figure skating world, but also just in the sporting world in general. I mean, of course, nor has figure skating. And favoring judges' opinions and favoring specific judges is still kind of really important in the sport. And also fitting into that whole idea of the ice princess mold. I mean, they have a movie called Ice Princess, which has someone who looks like the stereotypical ice princess I've also just mentioned. Also, if you look at someone like Elsa, she's an ice princess. I'm sure in her magical little movie land, she was also figure skating and doing tricks and spins and stuff. So when you think of someone called an ice princess, it normally describes someone like Elsa or someone like this chick from this Ice Princess movie. But Surya didn't fit into that ice princess mold. She actually created the ice queen mold. So let's be real, she's the true champion of this sport, doing backflips everywhere where even men won't even do them. She is the queen, and why be a princess when you can be a queen? I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thanks for sticking around. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you can think of some other sporting, history, political, some fun other female sport moment in history you'd like me to cover, please leave a comment. And if you really like these videos, you can subscribe. I post normally every second Thursday, well, at least if I remember to. So thank you for sticking around, and goodbye. 1993 World Championships. Bonaly does seven triple jumps. Triple toe. And triple jumps and three, no. I don't get figure skating. What is a triple jump? Does she jump 3 times? Does she spin 3 times?